Sir, on Iran, the Supreme Leader today said that U.S. attack could spark a regional war. Do you have any response to that?
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you can say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
Amid surging tensions between the United States and Iran, the last major guardrail on global nuclear arms control is now close to collapse, raising fears of a far more dangerous world. The last remaining US-Russia nuclear treaty, New START, is about to expire, and there is still no extension or replacement agreement ready to take its place. The original Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, known as START I, was signed on July 31, 1991, between the United States and the then Soviet Union to begin cutting Cold War arsenals. New START was later signed in 2010 by then US President Barack Obama and then Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, a close ally of Vladimir Putin, to update and extend strategic limits. The deal set up a system of short-notice, on-site inspections that allowed each side to physically check the other's forces and reassure itself about compliance. In 2023, Vladimir Putin suspended Russia's participation in New START, citing Washington's support for Ukraine in the ongoing war as his justification. Now set to expire on February 4, the pact currently limits how many deployed warheads, missiles, and launchers the United States and Russia can field. Together, Washington and Moscow still hold roughly 87% of all nuclear weapons on the planet, making their restraint central to global stability. Once New START ends, there will be no binding caps or mutual inspections left to restrain the number of deployed strategic warheads and launchers. The treaty's expiry could therefore mark the full end of decades of bilateral nuclear arms restraint between the two largest nuclear powers. Analysts warn that losing these limits could turbocharge a new global nuclear arms race, as countries plan for worst-case US-Russia buildups. New START capped deployed strategic warheads at 1,550 for each nuclear power, sharply reducing Cold War-era totals. It limited the combined number of deployed intercontinental ballistic missiles, submarine-launched ballistic missiles, and heavy bombers to 700 in total for each side. The treaty also set an overall launcher cap of 800, counting both deployed and non-deployed systems, to prevent rapid hidden surges. It mandated twice-yearly data exchanges on nuclear force levels so both governments had an updated picture of each other's arsenals. On top of that, it required near-daily notifications about movements and status changes of key strategic forces. Crucially, it allowed short-notice, on-site inspections of missiles, silos, submarines, and bombers, giving inspectors direct access to verify what existed on the ground. The agreement created a bilateral commission to resolve compliance disputes and technical disagreements. Taken together, these rules gave each side unusual insight into the other's nuclear posture and helped keep crises from spiraling through misunderstandings. In September 2025, Russian President Vladimir Putin floated an offer to voluntarily keep following New START limits for one more year. However, Putin made that offer conditional, saying Russia would do so only if the United States publicly pledged to match the same restraint. Donald Trump said the idea sounds like a good idea to me in public comments, but he never followed up with a formal US response. Without treaty limits, both Washington and Moscow could relatively quickly upload more warheads onto existing missiles and bombers. Experts believe deployed arsenals could potentially double using current delivery systems alone, without needing entirely new rockets. The loss of verification would almost certainly breed deep mistrust and push both sides toward worst-case military planning. In a recent interview, Trump downplayed the looming deadline and insisted that any future arms deal must bring China to the table. Beijing, whose nuclear arsenal is estimated to be only about a tenth the size of either Russia's or America's, has so far flatly refused to join such talks. Even before New START's expected expiry, Moscow has been pressing ahead with testing and showcasing new nuclear-capable weapon systems. In October 2025, Russia reportedly flight-tested the 9M730 Buyovesnik, a nuclear-powered cruise missile designed for extremely long-range missions. According to Russia's defense ministry, Buyovesnik can fly roughly 14,000 kilometers and stay aloft for more than 15 hours, allowing highly circuitous attack routes. Just days later, Vladimir Putin announced a successful test of Poseidon, a nuclear-powered underwater drone intended to strike coastal cities or carrier groups. In response, Trump authorized the Pentagon to move ahead with new tests of nuclear-capable missiles, signaling that Washington will match Russian advances. The end of New START is arriving just as US-Iran tensions spike, with Trump publicly pushing for new nuclear talks with Tehran. On February 1st, Trump said he still hopes to reach an Iran nuclear deal, even as the region braces for possible clashes.
Sir, on Iran, the Supreme Leader today said that U.S. attack could spark a regional war. Giving you a response to that?
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
Remember that in recent years Russia has deepened its security partnership with Iran, including cooperation on nuclear-adjacent technologies. Moscow has reportedly supplied Tehran with advanced air defense systems and combat drones, bolstering Iran's deterrence against US or Israeli strikes. Western officials warn that, over time, this backing could extend further into missile design support and sensitive nuclear know-how. The United States has already bombed Iranian nuclear sites once in 2025 and is now again massing forces in and around the Gulf. This time, Ayatollah Khamenei has openly threatened to retaliate across the entire region if Iran is struck again. Hence, with no new arms control treaty on the horizon and multiple crises converging, a grave question hangs over the moment. Will new players now join a widening nuclear arms race?
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.